Good. We'll
And there's
we'll
Joseph.
call the meeting. We'll call the meeting to order, and can we do a roll call?
Yes. Mac McLean,
Here.
Bob Wilkerson,
Here.
Terry Arcieri,
Here.
Joseph Myers. He's here. Tim Opilia
Here.
and Jeff Carey.
Here.
That's everyone.
Okay. Has everyone had a chance to take a look at the last month's meeting minutes?
Yes.
Yes.
Was there any changes or corrections?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as submitted.
Is there a second?
Sure. I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Any objections? So moved. Are there any changes to the proposed agenda or additions?
Doesn't look like it.
Seeing none, it is approved. Standard conflict of interest inquiry. With regards to tonight's agenda, does anyone have any potential conflicts of interest?
Nope.
No.
No.
Seeing none. Just a reminder, the next meeting is on March 20th. And we'll move on to committee, to staff updates.
Marissa?
The only thing that I wanted to update you guys on was that we're doing some preliminary research with these short-term rental subjects. So right now we are looking at some companies that help to register and permit short-term rentals as well as monitoring. Some of them have the capability to help with enforcement activities too, but we're doing some preliminary research with companies to see what options are out there if the county goes forward with regulating short-term rentals. We're doing that right now because we want to be able to come to the meetings and say that, you know, if we put these regulations in place, that our department is actually going to be able to handle that as well. Whether it's the permitting, monitoring, and enforcement, since we only have one enforcement officer. So we just want to make sure our department has the tools prior to starting to look into short-term rentals and engaging how the public feels on them. But after we get that research completed, we'll most likely be coming back to the PAC with maybe an open house with the public, putting out a survey for the public to see what the feelings are around short-term rentals, because we know it's going to be, you know, a very two-sided kind of topic, you know, the people who have short-term rentals and the people who don't really like them. So that'll be a very interesting topic coming up. It may be April for an open house. I'm not sure yet. It'll depend on what kind of feedback we get from these companies that we're researching and how soon we can get a survey together and out. But I just wanted to update you guys on that particular topic, and I don't think I have anything else.
Okay, and then Jeff, I was going to ask you if you had an update for the commissioners on that land exchange.
Yes, I do. Shortly after our last meeting, I contacted Mark Nearney and discussed with them, you know, what the county's plan was based upon what was outlined with the Decker Creek wetlands there at the west end of the county. And being that the acreage is about half of all the acreage that's in the county park system, and he indicated that at this point, it's been, I don't know if the correct term is tabled, but it's been put on the back burner. Mark did not disagree with points I made, but I said, I'm only speaking as one member of the committee. I'm not sure everybody else's position at this point, but I personally do feel that if we're going to make a change or a use or what have you to that property, since it's part of our comprehensive plan, that my feeling was that it should come back before the PAC or some entity to discuss, at least the advisory committee with the parks and trails. So there was no disagreement, but beyond that, he just indicated that there was a kind of an idea of exchanging it, but it did not happen, and it looks like it will not happen, at least for the foreseeable future. So that's about it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other staff updates, Marissa?
Nope.
Okey-doke. Is there any other business that anyone wants to bring up? And I'm not seeing on my screen that we have anyone from the public online tonight.
We do not.
Then I guess we can dispense with open public comment period.
Yes.
So we'll move on to the agenda item that's on the docket.
All right. Okay, I'm going to share my screen here so we can all look at the map. 1 second.
I think I set that up for you, but let me know if not.
Oh, yep, I have it. Okay. Can you all see the PowerPoint?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, so let me pull it full screen here. There we go. Okay, 1 moment. Not enough screens. Okay. We're just gonna. Okay, so you guys can see the map.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so I don't have the applicant here tonight. They were unavailable, but Alfred Jones is the owner of the parcels in question tonight, as well as the applicant. The 3 parcels out on Pickering, and the request is to rezone the 3 parcels from the current rural residential 5 zoning to rural commercial 2, with the intention of expanding his existing self-storage facility there to the north. You'll see on the map there what already exists there, as well as there's a little bit, I think he has a little bit of a tree farm here also to the north as well. And then you'll see to the east, there is Spencer Lake and a wetland that's adjacent to parcel 90002. That may come into play if the rezone is approved. He would have a buffer required, which would be evaluated during the special use permit process, as well as the building permit process. So, like I said, intention is to expand the current business. The 3 parcels combined are around 5.91 acres. The current business, there was a self-storage facility in some form in the early 1990s, quite a bit smaller then, but it was there prior to zoning implementation in the county, and then he eventually expanded on onto a couple other parcels and received rezoning for, I think, the south one there where the newest portion is. It's on the southeast there. I think that's the newest 3 buildings on that corner as well. So real commercial 2. We sent out a SEPA determination of non-significance. And I received, I believe it was 2 responses that are the typical from PUD and ecology as well. I didn't receive any other comments on the SEPA determination, and I didn't receive any comments on the application in general. Staff is evaluated against the 8 rezone criteria. The 8th criteria, of course, not applying since it's not a map correction. And we found it to meet all 8 criteria. And staff is recommending that the PAC make a recommendation to the BOCC for approval of the rezone. The site was posted as well as all the neighbors mailed, and of course the meeting was posted in the journal as well. So public notice was accomplished for the project proposal. And then other than that, if the PAC has any questions for me regarding the proposal.
I have a question. So on the parcel closest to Spencer Lake, at the tip of the triangle there, they have a stormwater retention pond that they want to put in. And is that in the wetland area?
So on the map that where they've drawn in the proposed retention pond, there's already a retention pond on the site. And I don't think it's right in that look. I think it's on the parcel that it's already real commercial 2. On the south of that parcel. I don't know if you can see my pointer on the.
So he would have 2 stormwater retention, or just
What I heard from Kel is that she believes that stormwater retention pond is actually large enough because they over-designed it initially for what's already there. So his stormwater pond may already be adequately sized. Now, if he gets into the special use permit process and, whatever he proposes there, they may determine that it may need another one. But from what I've heard so far is that it was oversized to begin with.
Okay.
So it may be able to handle what he's proposing additionally.
Can you clarify for everyone's benefit exactly what would be coming before the PAC with respect to the special use permit?
The special use permit, when it come before you, it would come before the hearing examiner.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So the rezones you guys, and then depending on what you and the BOCC decide, he may or may not be able to go forward with the special use permit with the hearing examiner.
So the clarification that I was looking for is if there are any comments or recommendations moving forward with this, with the proposed use that the PAC would like to suggest, now would be the time to do it. Is my understanding?
If you have any comments or suggestions, yes, and then I can communicate that along the line. So, or into
Okay,
the
I just wanted to make sure that
applicant.
just wanted to make sure that was clear to all the commissioners that if there are any concerns, now would be the time to bring them forward.
Jeff, you had something you wanted to say?
Yeah, might as well go under concerns. That stormwater retention they currently have in the southeast corner, elevation wise, it's higher than parcel ending in 90002. So that wouldn't effectively work for that unless they're going to pump it uphill. Another couple questions. This is more of a question. The parcel ending in 90,004. That has over 3/4 of it, about 16% slope, sloping down towards the wetlands there. So I'm not necessarily against it. I'm just concerned that we have a steep slope in one area. We have an undelineated wetland, which, at least from looking at Google Earth and other maps I've looked at least that wetland at least pops in at least probably 20% of parcel ending in 2. So these are concerns. I mean, I think they can be mitigated and worked with, but the other thing that caught my attention is on all 3 of these parcels in 2016, they were reclassified into open space, and they're still resource lands. Looking at the terms, it looks like you can pull it out of open space, after 8 years. And there's some other clauses that may allow it to do sooner, but it's kind of interesting that we're wanting to leave this under the criteria for open space, and then a few years later we're looking at rezoning it to enlarge the self-storage, even though I don't disagree, you might need more space, but it just seems like it's kind of an interesting approach to how we're dealing with this. That's it for now. Thank you.
My understanding from the application was that the applicant intended to divert all of the roof runoff and infrastructure runoff to the diversion pond, either the existing or a new one, if that the elevation of the existing one is too high to be able to do that. Was that a binding condition of the proposal?
Well, I mean, he
Or
doesn't
one,
have a,
or one that will be advanced to the examiner?
that would be advanced to examiner. I think he does know that, he may need another retention pond depending on, the situation. So, so he's prepared to do that as well.
Okay.
It was interesting that he was gonna do 3 covered RV and boat storage areas, which I do really believe Mason County needs, especially with all the lakes that you can go boating on. There really isn't any storage areas that are covered. And with Lakeland Village and a lot of those areas where they have homeowners associations where they don't want RVs or boats in driveways, so you got to store them somewhere. There is a storage need for recreational vehicles.
Just by way of discussion, from my point of view, I also agree that there is a need for this. I think it can be accommodated without adverse impact on the adjacent uses, but I do think that the runoff considerations definitely need to be addressed and forwarded to the examiner with some assurance that they will be addressed in that process. That's the only real negative that I see.
Well, when I used to be a septic designer back in the day, if you went over 5,000 square foot of impervious surface, you had to do stormwater retention, and he's got 51,487 square feet, so he will be required to do stormwater retention.
Okay.
Yeah, that is correct, yes.
And that counts the driveways, because they're, that also diverts water. Any pavement. So he will be doing it.
Any other issues the commissioners want to bring up?
Jeff?
Yeah,
Yeah, this is Jeff. Only other thing that, and again, I don't have a problem with the expansion is what's the limiting, criteria for expanding, zoning? In other words, right now it's, basically he's increasing it maybe by, 80%, 70%. But I mean, in other words, we create zoning rules and create these regs. All I want to make sure is that we have a consistent way of applying them. One, and two, I mean, with the existing zoning around there, I mean, could the property to the east or to the west of this, across the road develop into storage? And again, I'm not saying it should or shouldn't. I'm just saying, how do we, as a commission, how do we determine how far to go with these things? I mean, sure, you got the applicant, how far he wants to go. But I'm saying if somebody, like Green Diamond comes by on the other side, says and sells it to somebody and they want to develop it, I mean, are we in the obligated or, at least looking at it straight up that we're going to be, if they wanted to expand storage that way, we would? Question mark. It's more for the staff.
So I will say there is a section in the code that actually outlines how many rezones we should be doing from like upzoning out in the rural areas a year, and how much acreage. So there is something already outlined in the code, like our limits,
Okay.
for what we can do for the year. And of course, this is what our first rezone for the year, so we definitely haven't made it there yet. So
I'm not hung up on one way or the other. I'm really kind of trying to be consistent when I make a decision and support things or don't support things, just how we apply. And, I would have no problem even exceeding it as long as, if it's all across the county, different places, that's one thing. If it's all in one area, that's a whole nother thing. In other words, if somebody wanted, say the limit, and I don't know what it is, but say the limit was like 160 acres a year. If somebody did that to the west there's 160 acres there, bang, between it and Highway 3, would we be obligated to, I mean, I know we'd review it, but I mean, I don't know, it seems a little arbitrary is what I'm getting at, but, hey, I'm new at this. Thanks.
this issue has come up in the past with concerns by previous board members that this whole rezoning sometimes took on the appearance of being almost ad hoc, where it wasn't really a predictable process. So
Okay.
we have almost all new board members. It might be helpful if staff could give a brief outline at our next meeting as to what the guiding rules are for the rezoning process, what we currently are operating under. So it's kind of a refresher for all of us. Might be helpful.
Yeah, I can pull what we have in code to guide us. Yes. I'll put something together for that.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
That said, are there any other comments by commissioners?
Only other comment is the PAC supposed to be evaluating, coming to decisions before other entities like ecology or Department of Commerce? In other words, if they have a 60-day comment period, are we supposed to be making decisions prior or after, or is there no guidelines there? I'm more not knowing, asking the question.
So there's a 60-day, I have to notice the Department of Commerce, and then the county can't adopt it prior to having a 60-day notice period. So that usually ends up when the BOCC is hearing it and adopting it. So you guys can have, because you guys aren't actually, you're making a recommendation, you're not actually at the point of
Okay.
adoption. It's okay to have the talk about it and make your decision prior to Commerce's deadline.
Okay, thank you.
Is there any other comment? Or does this body want to make a recommendation at this time?
It seems to me that staff has done a lot of effort in coming up with a recommendation to this body, so I think we should move forward. But I always do the motions. I want somebody else to do it this time.
Well, I'd be happy to do it. I'll make a motion that we
Yeah.
go ahead and move to approve it. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
She got first.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any objections or abstentions? So moved. And I skipped the public comment because we had no one here.
Yes, I did mark that down that we had no one, so we went over it.
Right. I didn't forget it. I just skipped it because there was no one online. So unless there's anything for the good of the order, I think we have addressed the agenda.
I don't have anything else.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So moved. Short meeting.
Next time.
Bye.
Bye.